Kalimeraki, Kalisperaki, Kalinichta, no matter where in this wonderful and weird world you might be, thank you once again for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's Monday Madness. We have a lot to unpack tonight with the legend that is Super Kev. Let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, everyone. To those of you listening on replay, thanks for joining us, and those on our audio platforms, which are being updated as we're speaking because I have a bandwidth that is about as short as me or the brother from Game of Thrones. All I'm saying is I'm reunited here with my podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kev.
Oh, Squaddies. Squaddies. Love ya. At ease, Squaddies. Check out the new hat. Check out the new hat.
Okay, so
at
Super
ease.
Kev, I love the swag right there. Let's get a little close up of that. I knew I should have bought the black one. I'm going to buy it. Look at that. The Highbury Squad beanie on display by the legend himself, Mr. Super Kev Campbell. Fire, fire, fire. I love it. Looks good on you. Makes you look even younger, even though you turned 550 at the weekend.
Hey, listen, 550 I've earned every single year. See? See? I'm even getting love from the dogs. Love it.
Okay. Well, welcome back to Squad Central, everyone. Kev, did you have an epic birthday weekend? Something tells me you did.
I did. I had a fantastic time. And it usually lasts minimum 2 weeks. So it will stretch. So that's for sure. Because I don't get to see everybody. So it will stretch out.
Okay, so the good news is stretching it out means I have more birthday messages for you that we can stretch out between now and the 2-week threshold where Super Kev's birthday does come to an end, which, by the way, it should never come to an end, ever. So there are some latecomers who have sent in videos, and I will not tell you who, but let's just say that we will share them throughout this week. So yes, thank you to everyone who sent Kev inundated with messages for you. Absolutely inundated.
That's nice.
With the love from the Squaddy universe. Yeah. He's always looking good, QA Gooner, always looking good. Let's say hello to all the usual suspects in the house. We got Mark, we got Trev. We've got El Nino. So you're not an Arsenal fan. But thanks for joining us. You must be a Liverpool fan. Relegate City. Boy's definitely an Arsenal fan. So I don't know who he's talking about. Missed you both at Guna Gra. Thank you for the Guna Gra birthday message, Magic Mike. It was fantastic. Yanto, who let the dogs out? We did. Happy birthday from Vespa. All right, Suraj is here. Everyone is here. I'm going to get on with it. Every single one of you, Chief Like Officer Tammy, keep your eyes on the ball. Here we are with Super Kev this fine Monday evening. We didn't do a post-game show, and many people's like, oh, Highbury Squad are bottling it because we lost. No. It's called work commitments and things that happen in life, and you can't do a show, all right? Because we're here, and we are ready to face the music.
Just imagine I was at one of the worst places you could be at. I was at Old Trafford watching the game.
Watching
in the
them
media
win.
part before doing TalkSport. And it weren't great.
I mean, it was your birthday, and Sunday definitely plateaued, and we'll get to that, Super Kev. But let's just start with you. It wasn't a great game. I don't know what it is about Goodison Park. We had the boys from Toffee TV on, and we had Alan Myers, the former director of communications of Everton Football Club. I say we never invite those knuckleheads ever here again. Kev, it felt like the entire team chose to have their worst game since PSV away on the same day. How did you assess everything before we
Yeah,
get stuck into the talking points.
it was similar to the PSV, which we just didn't look like we had the energy. And do you know what? In the last third, for the first time in a long time, we couldn't get it going. Saka couldn't get going. Martinelli couldn't get going. Eddie really couldn't get it going. You know, we can play from the back to the middle, but we really struggled at the top end of the pitch. And to be fair to Everton, we knew they would be competitive. So that's one thing we did know.
Mm.
And they made life difficult for us. That's what they're going to do. Everton up there, listen, I've been captain of that football club. Arsenal come to town, you're going to get their best. And it was a performance from Everton that we've not seen all season, let's be honest. And we weren't at the races, so a culmination of both. They were good, we were bad. But you know what? It's going to happen. And I'm going to challenge some of our squaddies and some of the Arsenal fans who watch us, Sophie. Because let me tell you, we are going to have moments and times like that. And what we can't afford is to melt down. We can't afford to throw toys out the pram. What have we got to do? Yeah, we're not happy, but we have to back the boys and the team to bounce back. And I'm sure we will, but what is it, 18 games left we've got? It's a lot of points, a lot of games, Soph. So we're going to need all of you squaddies. We're going to need all the gooners. We're going to need everybody together. Because never mind looking at what's happening with City, that ain't going to get sorted out before the end of the season. And who's to say they're going to get anything docked? We're going to have to do it ourselves. And you know what? 2 big games coming up. Weekend and then City at home. We could do ourselves a massive favour, can't we?
Okay, so I want to start with kind of the top layer, easy to see stuff before I get stuck into asking you some tactical stuff, Kev. And that is, you not only were you the captain of Everton, you were the first black captain ever for Everton Football Club. When you arrived, you saved them from relegation. We know Goodison Park; it has that Highbury vibe to it, very close to the pitch, the crowd, the boys. When we asked them on Monday, a week yesterday, today was what's going to be like one of the toughest parts, and they talked about the crowd, and the crowd definitely turned up. But with that said, take me into the dressing room right now, because this new manager bounce thing, I mentioned it on the show to the boys, and I said it was something that really scared me. This new manager bounce. Not only does that exist in the stratosphere, Kev, but it's also at a ground where we just, for some reason, don't have any luck. And here's Mikel Arteta returning also as a former captain, has not won a single lick there since he's become Arsenal manager. What is it, Kev, as a player, you're going into a game like this and you're like, oh, we never win there. Do you think that? Or our play? Talk me through that process.
No, you don't. You always go there thinking positive. But the fact of the matter is, we haven't really got positive results from there. Lone Star's right. The performance was disappointing. It wasn't positive. And really, when you look at it, we keep the ball all right. We play the ball around, but we didn't hurt them. So the way they set up to contain us and to not let us penetrate. So we can play in front of them all we like. One thing they know, we're not going to get the ball wide and whip crosses in. So all they need to do is stay on their feet and make sure they stay solid. And that's what they done. We turned the ball over from time to time. And we just weren't good enough. As a player, sometimes you scratch your head thinking...
What was that ground for you, Kev? What team was it? Like, because it's... I didn't want to talk about it too much out loud, but as soon as the game started and the way we were playing, I'm like, oh, God, I don't want to say it out loud, but this has a horrible vibe about it.
You see, and once the 12th man gets involved at Goodison, once that crowd get involved, It's as hostile a place as you can go in the Premier League. It is loud and hostile as anywhere.
What was that for you, Kev? Whether you were when you were at Arsenal or Everton, like what was that ground or team?
Well, when I was at Arsenal, I made my debut against Everton there in '88. That was when they had a really good. That was their last great team, so to speak, and it was hostile then. You know, it was really hostile. But I mean, Everton are a big club. Many people haven't seen them how they were, but they're a huge club, and they're very proud. And there's infighting going on because, could you imagine? We dropped levels a bit, and we're kicking off. Could you imagine what they've been through? So, you know, they want something to believe in. They want somebody to get behind, Sophie. And the players felt it. You could see the players felt it. The players played up to the standard that is expected of them. And let's be honest, they didn't do anything fancy, Sophie. Nothing fancy. They stuck to the basics. They defended properly. They made it competitive. And they waited on set pieces to try and get an advantage. And there was that advantage they had with Tarkowski, where Odegaard tried to pick him up. It's an absolute mismatch. And he scored. And then once we're behind, it's always going to be tough, no matter what we do. So, again, as a player, Sophie, sometimes you cannot put your finger on why. You can't, because you go out there every week to play well. But Goodison Park just seems to be a graveyard for us.
Not only was it like a whole kind of, it was a face-off moment where you're, you know, John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, and there've been these characters this whole time, and then, you know, you do the face-off, and here we are, we become this team at Goodison Park. Whether, I don't know, it's just like this whole craziness of a ground that we just do not perform well in. But with that said, Kev, does this mean Frank Lampard really is a shit manager? Because what Sean Dyche did in one game, I'm sorry, the corrections, going out and looking organised, I mean, it's a little bit embarrassing, isn't it, for Lampard?
We've seen Everton go to Manchester City and get a point. So it's not under Frank Lampard. So it's not, again,
1 point.
But but let me tell you something. That could be a really important point. So, but it's at Manchester City that nobody gives Everton a chance. Nobody gives Everton a chance. No. The key is we've seen these players perform one week and then go totally the opposite way the next. Now we're going to actually see exactly what this Everton team under Sean Dyche is going to be, because it's the Merseyside derby next.
Okay. I've got a lot of points, and, you know, on the Monday Madness top 5, I want to start doing Arsenal top 5 talking points and then the rest of the league, right? So we've got a lot to get through this evening. One of the things that I wanted to touch on with you, and where has it gone? Because I thought if I don't put this in here now, I'm going to forget about it.
Yanto, competitive, physical. It's a man's game.
Not that one, but yes.
No, I'm just saying, I don't want to hear, you mean physical? Yeah, physical.
Yeah, we weren't, we reverted. I've got a whole thing on mental for you as well. Jeez. It's like a Greek meze. The plates are coming at you thick and fast. Don't overeat on the first serving, because there's so much more to come. So there's definitely been a drop-off with Benjamin White's performances in the last 2 games. And Martinelli, I think, is because Kev, you and I have said Eddie Nketiah can probably come in and do a job for a number of games, but can he do it for the long haul? I felt, and I'm not pointing the finger at Eddie, it was just one of those games where you missed Jesus' intensity and what he does off the ball and how that opens up spaces for Martinelli. I think Martinelli's starting to miss Jesus, and Eddie is maybe feeling the intensity of what that role means, which I think he played ineffectively at the weekend.
Yeah, in games like this, Jesus Jesus can be a difference maker because of not just off the ball, but when he gets the ball, he can actually beat somebody. He can beat somebody and create something out of nothing. Now, yeah, he might, like we said before, he might not be scoring, so. But what he always done, he occupied centre halves, he beat centre halves, and Martinelli could gamble, Saka could gamble, etc. So, listen, we're going through a little sticky patch right now. Listen, let me just tell everybody this. Everybody is not going to play well all season. It's impossible. Impossible. So Ben White's been incredible for the first half of the season. His levels dropped a little bit. It happens. That's why we got a squad. That's what the squad is for. And you have to be able to mix and match your squad. Look, Eddie's done a great job. He has done a great job. But in tight games like this, that's when you need your best players to unlock a door. But we don't have it. So we got to get on with it. And we have to rely, of course, we have to rely more on a Saka now. We have to rely more on Martinelli to get a grip. But you know what? We'll be a lot better at home.
Okay, so the top 5 talking points might be all over the place because of where Kev is taking the conversation. So, you know, we talked about the bench and we both raved about how our bench is stronger. And you want that bench to have an immediate impact. We saw Trossard have an immediate impact. He came on energetic in his first game as a sub. I really didn't like the narrative, especially from our friends at TalkSport, where, you know, Partey subbed at 59, at 60, we conceded a goal. Jorginho came on. I'm not buying into that at all. And I really don't appreciate that narrative and how it sets up a new signing to kind of be the scapegoat, because that's not what happened. We did not lose this game because of Jorginho, right? But Kev,
I'll tell you one thing, Soph. Thomas Partey is one of the players who picks up. And that was a mismatch.
So here's the other thing too. So so my top 5 talking points are, let's talk about what went wrong. Let's talk about like-for-like subs versus tactical formation and switches. Talk to me about certain grounds, which we got stuck into. Tweaking the starting 11, or do you let this 11 play out of it? And mental mavens, right? So let's get on to, you talked a little bit about what went wrong. Kev, was this a case of, in hindsight 2020, Manchester City lose to Tottenham, oh my God, we could be 8 points clear, or oh my God, thank goodness it's still 5 points? It's easy to see both sides, isn't it?
No, but it is both. You could be, but you weren't. But we still have the game in hand now. So we win the game in hand. We could be 8 points. So it's just stayed exactly where it is because both of us lost. So again, whether you like it or not, we'll take the result. We'll take Man City losing to our local rivals. No problem. Thank you. And we move on. It's that simple.
Okay, so let me talk to you about, all I've heard in the January transfer window is we need to have cover for Thomas Partey. If Thomas Partey goes down, we're screwed. Well, here's a game where Thomas Partey started. You would argue that Thomas Partey should absolutely be dominating this midfield situation and the matchup against Everton. Again, I reiterate, everyone chose to have a bad game of football on the same day. But Kev, I've always talked about we can't be a one-man team. When Jesus went down, everyone thought our title hopes would fade and be destroyed because of the immediate impact that he's had and how he's galvanized the side. Thomas Partey played in this game, barring maybe Eddie up front, who you also said last week, Eddie starts over Jesus right now. Jesus has to earn his spot back. We're playing our best 11. We're playing against Everton. Thomas Partey is in the side. I love him, but stop this insanity of we can't play football if he doesn't play. He played, we lost. What's your take on that?
I haven't got a take. were poor. I mean, it's not just Thomas Partey, is he? He's not the only player who's playing.
No, but the point before this, all January, was Thomas
Yeah, but it
Partey,
doesn't
Thomas
matter
Partey,
what we
Thomas
said
Partey.
before. We've come to the game and we were poor. As an attacking force, we were poor. So there's nothing more to say, really, than it was a bad day at the office. We couldn't get it going. And whatever we tried, we made substitutions. We just were poor. It's that simple. We were just poor. We have to dust ourselves down and we got to move on, because we could talk about it till we're blue in the face. So we just didn't play well. What more do you want? What more do you want me to say? We did not play well at all. We were not even an attacking force.
Let's get to this then. So there's been a lot of narrative post game of how a lot of the substitutions were like for like versus making substitutions. And again, look, it's our first loss since Manchester United, since I was in England the first time. I've been back twice since. This is the first loss since the Old Trafford game. So it's a tough pill to swallow. We're not used to it. Listen to us. We're not used to this. It's kind of felt like that Mike Tyson Buster Douglas fight, Kev. All of a sudden, Tyson's on the canvas and you're like, what the hell's happening here? Tyson on the canvas? But that's kind of what happened to us. We got punched in the mouth early. We never recovered. It was an uppercut and we were on the ropes. And you know what? It is one of those games. But with that said, Kev, do you buy into the like for like substitutions? Take me beyond the ropes here, because I've heard a lot from fellow podcasters.
They're not like for like.
No, but so Tomiyasu. Okay,
not like for like.
Talk me through it.
Tomiyasu plays differently to Ben White. Jorginho plays differently to Thomas Partey. Trossard plays differently to Martinelli. So they're not like for like. They might play in the same position, but they are not like for like. Same position doesn't mean they're like for like. Trossard isn't someone who's going to burn anybody on the outside. Trossard's a clever player who likes to get the ball and pass it and move. That might just might have unhinged Everton. But it didn't. Jorginho, we know Jorginho's good on the ball. We know Tomiyasu, he can maraud, but he's more solid and he's someone who could pick up from corners as well. But again, we just didn't play well enough. So it doesn't matter who he brought on. If I'm honest with you, it doesn't matter. We just weren't good enough on the day.
It definitely felt like nothing went right on the day. But I really want to push you on this, Kev, because when you change players, but you don't change how you play, I think that's the part that, and rightly or wrongly, people are questioning whether Arteta's in-game management has that sophistication yet. And I'm sure it doesn't, Kev.
Come on. I'm not gonna listen to this now.
Well, you have to listen to it because I'm asking the question.
I'm saying his in-game management. You put players on. Players have different qualities. Players are not the same. They're not in a grow bag just growing all the same like vegetables. Players are different. So when you bring players on, you expect them to be able to utilize their abilities, their strengths, which is different to the person who you took off. That's it. That's the way it goes. But you still do it within this framework of your team, because I guarantee you, if Mikel Arteta changed the formation and then we got beat, it's going to be, why did he change the formation? That's the way we play.
I'm talking about before the game. That's irrelevant to the question that I asked, actually.
No, it isn't, because you said
it is. It isn't in-game management. I said, and it had nothing to do with beforehand.
But you're talking about bringing players on like for like. So I'm saying,
no. That's not my question. My question was many in the.
What you said.
No.
Did you or did you not say?
Okay, it's been a while since we've done the no. I said that there has been a narrative by podcasters and some in the media talking about this like for like substitution. And my question to you is, are we at that phase where we have to examine Arteta's in-game management a little bit more? So even if you're doing a like for like, maybe tactically you're switching it up just a little bit.
But that's what I've just said. I will repeat myself.
I'm not pissed
When
at
you bring players on into a position, they are different to the player who's going off. That is the adjustment.
From an energy point of view.
No, but that's the adjustment. Because it never worked with Martinelli. It never worked with Ben White. So that's what I'm Thomas Partey. So you bring different players on who maybe can do something different than the opposition are ready for. But it doesn't matter what would have happened. We weren't at the races. We weren't good enough.
What do you think about...
Hold on, let me finish. Because people start talking about in-game management. There's no problem with in-game management. If the players don't perform, there's nothing you can do. He's made the changes and we didn't get the job done. It's that simple.
Okay, so what about small things like, and a ton of people have put it up, so this is why I'm putting it in here. I've actually just moved it off, but substituting on a corner is taking effect. We've seen this a lot. Like, you make a sub, there's a loss of concentration, something happens in the game. You know, it's the small things like that people are talking about, Kev. It's okay to criticize Mikel if he didn't get it right.
Well, it's easy to criticize when the goal scored after the substitute, but I mean, we're top of the league for a reason. So but again, we're nitpicking. And why make a substitution then?
Because this was a game we couldn't afford to lose, really. If we're
nonsense. No, I don't agree. So
well, you pick us to win every game, so clearly it's not nonsense, Kev.
No, but it is nonsense because we can lose.
Are you saying what I said is nonsense, or the notion of what I said?
I'm saying it's nonsense that we can't lose. We can lose against anybody.
I never said we can't lose. It's who you lose to.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're saying that. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what I'm saying, what I'm saying,
us to win,
and I appreciate that.
But I know what this game is about, just like you do. We can lose against anybody.
And
all this dissecting, did he make a mistake with the substitution? No, we've got to defend the corner better. Because he made a substitution. No, that isn't why we conceded. We conceded because we picked up poorly in the box.
Right. But the question is moments of substitutions, right? So you make a substitution right before a corner is taken or whatever. Clearly, on that day, the team was not prepared for this. They may have seemed like they were prepared, but when everyone is collectively rubbish, you know, and Sophie, listen, this is going to happen.
Basics, but Sophie, let me just say to you.
So what do you mean by basics?
I'm going to explain. If you make a substitution before a corner or a free kick or their goal kick, there still has to be some element of organization in your team. You can't blame the substitution and then all of a sudden, we conceded because a substitution was made. No. There's players out there who are experienced enough, who have been doing really well on set pieces, and we got caught because there was a mismatch. There's enough experience there. There's enough size there. We got caught. It was a mismatch. Tarkowski against Ødegaard. There's only going to be one winner. But there's got to be some element of organization, is my point, where it has to be organized quickly. If you know that Thomas Partey's going off, you've got to start saying, right, who are we gonna be picking up in the box? That is what it is.
I guess my point is that, and all the points are meshing into one now through this conversation, is I said that this league will be won and lost on our mental strength and ability. And against Everton at Goodison Park, I saw us kind of crawl back into the shadows a little bit, Kev. It felt like the Crystal Palace performance, the Brighton performance, the Southampton performance, the Newcastle away performance. It felt like one of those. And I've asked you constantly on this show, and I've said, there's two reasons where I sit back and I do not throw the hat in the we're going to win the league ring. And that is February 15th, our first game against Manchester City. And the other is the mental strength, which we have shown huge improvements on. To come back and be the team we are after the collapse last season is massive. But my question is, this is the first, I think, massive adversity test. And we got lucky, Tottenham beating City, which Tottenham do often. And City just seem to not be the same team, Kev, right?
Mhm.
So the question is, now you got Brentford at home. So you come into today's training. Take me into the dressing room. What's happening after a loss like that and you're top of the league?
You get on with it. You get on with training. There's no moping around. It's gone. There's nothing you can do about it. The key is now you prepare for what's to come. That's all you can do. Because I know what you're talking about the mental and this kind of thing. But this team this season, from any adversity, have bounced back. So that's all we can do. We're going to see what it's like at the Emirates against Brentford. Because we've got two really big games. First one, Brentford, and then obviously the 15th against Man City. Huge games. But as a player, you get in, you're even more determined because you realize you've just got away with one.
Or you didn't get away with it because you lost.
No, you got away with one because the opposition didn't win. The opposition lost.
Oh,
so you got away with one.
Right.
So you come in, time to get back to work. Get that intensity back into your game. Get that focus. Because it's at the Emirates, not away. It's at the Emirates. 2 home games. First one, Brentford. Again, this is where the heat starts to get cranked up. The fire starts to get hotter. Every game now. And that's why I said at the start, that's why we're going to need all of us together.
And this is where this happens for Arsenal most seasons. We seem to find our dodgy form in February and March. I don't know why, but it happens to us. And there's been seasons where it's plateaued and it has gone according to the plan that we want. But being gifted, these are the signs, right? You want signs along the way because luck comes into this massively, right? And here we are. Tottenham, our rivals, beat Manchester City. So it's a wash this weekend. But you can't afford to ride your luck like that anymore. And I'm sure Mikel and the boys today kind of got together and huddled and were like, we stunk up the joint. How did that happen? You know, hopefully they'll rectify it. Super Kev. But I do want to stick on the mental side a little bit too, because when there's so much noise going on outside, and I think Mikel does a job of softening that. Like if you listen to his quote saying, I love them more today than I did like yesterday and whatever. But behind the scenes, I want him to be berating them. You know?
Why?
Because
why do you want it to be berating them when they're top of the league 5 points clear?
Because greatness comes from you're not perfect yet. You've done nothing yet.
He knows that.
No, but they need to know that.
No, but do you reckon he don't tell them? He knows.
That's what I'm asking you.
No,
like I want him to be berating them a little bit today.
He's not going to berate them. No, he's not going to berate them. What he's going to tell them is we need to be more focused. We definitely need to be more focused. We definitely need to play better. But he's not going to berate them. No, they've not been that bad. They've had the odd bad game here and there, but they haven't been that bad where he's going to be berating them. No.
But when you're so close and you're fighting for something that you never had any idea, and you don't quite know yet if talent-wise or mental-wise you're there, in order to keep the team on their toes, you know, I mean, I've sat in a room where I've been told, you know what, this is a garbage campaign. The movie's great, but your campaign's garbage. You cost us. what are you going to do to fix it? Like, I think it's okay to be told you were garbage to help build. It's like
I've
Lou
just
Gossett
said,
Jr. and Richard Gere in
he would
Officer
tell
and a
them about
Gentleman.
focusing, Soph. He will tell them what they've got to do. He will tell them, but he doesn't need to berate them. Saying something's garbage isn't berating. He's just telling them the truth.
Okay,
But
so
you
what
said
would
you want him to berate them?
Yeah,
I don't want him
do.
to berate them. No, I don't. Because they haven't been.
Maybe that's the Greek
they've had a bad
parenting side of
game.
me.
They've had a bad game, but no, berate them for nothing.
If your nice car breaks down, you don't berate the whole car for sucking. You work on the broke part. No, but the whole car sucked on Saturday, Magic Mike. The wheels, the steering, the air conditioning, the recliners, the indicators, the bonnet, the boot, the whole car sucked on Saturday. I'm sorry, but you know, the demister didn't save the brakes. It's not happening. We were rubbish all the way around. And it's okay to say we were rubbish and still appreciate and support the team,
we all agree,
right?
Sophie, we all agree. What we don't agree on is you saying that he should berate them. You would like him to berate them.
Yeah.
I'm saying I don't think he should, because he doesn't need to read the riot act to them. They've been awesome all season. That's why we're in that position. So,
but maybe there comes a point in the season where you do need to read the riot act a little bit, so there's no complacency.
But why does
because
he need
maybe
to read
it's
the
the
riot
next
act
level
after
of
one loss?
management. Maybe it's his next level. It's his next level.
No, hold on. Why does he need to read the riot act after one loss? Why?
Because we're going after the championship,
Yeah,
and there's no room for error.
That. No, but there is, because we erred and we got away with it.
Right, and he needs to make sure that we don't and are not that complacent again, which is why I wouldn't mind him.
Sophie, I don't think we were complacent. We just weren't good. We were poor on
All right,
Saturday.
so 300 in live chat. Hit that like button if you enjoy this conversation between myself and Super Kev, the player and the fan side here. Also broadcasting across the universe to Arsenal fans everywhere. Thank you so much for joining us this fine Monday madness. So Super Kev, then, against Brentford, are you, I say this with respect, the first 11 picks itself, maybe there gets to a point in the season where, I'm not saying it gets Wengeritis, where players just think they're going to play, but is there going to come a time where Arteta needs these players to actually think about whether or not they're going to play? Do you make any changes against Brentford? And this is why I'm talking about berating. There was a scene in All or Nothing where he's like, just don't think you're going to play every week. You got to earn it. So I think the Arsenal starting 11 has written itself and they've earned their spots. However, as the season goes and other competitions come in and you face adversity, so surely those players also need
to talk about the rest of the season. We're talking about the Brentford game.
Okay, but if you're going for a title, one game to Arsenal is like 3 games to Liverpool or City in the past.
Yeah, but let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. We got beat against Everton and we got Brentford on Saturday. Let's just talk about the Brentford game. For me, as a manager, I think he's going to probably go with the starting 11 because they're the ones he's relied on most of the season. If it goes poorly again, then he might switch something up because you never know. He might bring somebody on and make a difference. That's what we got at the moment. That is what we got. I don't think we've been that bad that he needs to make any changes yet. I don't think so.
So, okay, let me ask you this question. Do you think the game against Newcastle, the game against Everton, gave a little bit of an example of maybe why, what's that young fella's name? Is it Fresnado? Very versatile right back, can play left back, can play an attacking winger. Do you think that sometimes on the right side, as good as Tomiyasu has been as a deputy, as phenomenal as Ben White has been this season, are there going to be games like an Everton and a Newcastle where you might need that overlapping right back that bombs it? I'm not saying Cedric because clearly he didn't meet the requirements, but maybe a younger Cedric that's going to support Saka a little bit more in those dynamic moments where we could have a different element to our game, Kev. I'm nitpicking because
Yeah, I know
I'm
you're
seeing,
nitpicking,
I'm trying to
Sophie,
look
but
at the bigger picture.
But I have to answer the question. Again, here you go. If we're not playing well, it doesn't matter whether you got Fresneda or anybody else. It doesn't matter because we're not playing well enough. Who's to say Fresneda comes in and we're worse?
But Benjamin White and Tomiyasu aren't those overlapping
But Ben White did
players.
try, but we
No, but
weren't
trying,
good enough.
and this is the point. Okay, so I'm not arguing with where we've come. This is the
No, but
point
you're
of
arguing the point that we weren't good enough.
No, I'm not.
So it doesn't matter who you got there.
No, Kevin. I'm not arguing the point if we're good enough. I'm arguing the point that as the season goes, let me finish. As the season goes,
Sophie, you got that wrong. What I just said.
and
you got that wrong. What I just said.
As the
you
season
mentioned Fresneda coming in and making a difference. I said it doesn't matter if we don't play well. That's my point.
No, but that's not true because what if Fresneda can come on and make a difference and create a goal?
What if we'd beaten Everton and we weren't?
That's my question.
But Sophie,
so you're not entertaining.
There are games where we don't.
Okay, but I'm trying to give you an example of
and
as
I'm
the
saying to you, Sophie.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, Kev, I mean, Sophie, I could get through
where
it.
You're going.
No, you don't.
Two more than capable.
You got to respect me fulfilling and asking my whole question.
Go on then.
As the season goes, similarly, as Arsenal fans have cried, God forbid if Thomas Partey gets injured, what happens next? As the season goes, and we find ourselves in these situations, games like Newcastle and Everton, are we lacking? Do we need that overlapping wing back bombing it down?
No, we don't. Because if we'd have taken our chances against Newcastle, we win the game. We were poor against Everton. That's why we got beat. So we can have as many attacking fullbacks as you like. So if we don't play well enough and we don't take our chances, it doesn't matter whether you got Fresneda or whoever. They're not going to make a difference if we don't play well.
But I think we're starting to see.
Well, there you go. You think and I don't. So this is your opinion, which is fine. But you can't tell me what I think. It's my opinion.
I'm not trying to tell you. We're having a conversation.
I just said we don't need a Fresneda. We got more than enough quality at fullback who got us to this position. So having a fullback who just bombs on don't necessarily mean that's going to keep us from conceding.
It's not about conceding. I'm talking about creating.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that. But I've just said, if we don't play well, it doesn't matter how many times he wants to overlap.
But you're talking about, I'm not being negative today. Wow, you can't ask a few questions and challenge in a situation. I'm talking about going forward and having a plan A, B, and C.
But we've got, listen. So
who's out bombing it forward? Who's out bombing it forward winger on the right?
Ben White can do that.
No, he doesn't, Kev. He's not a bomb it forward. Is he?
Ben White can do that. He can. Sophie, where are we in the league? So whatever we're doing has been working.
Correct, but I'm talking about if it stops working. Time out, Kevin. Kevin, I'm talking about if it stops working, what is the plan B?
Sophie, the plan B is we've got players who can change the game. We've got players who can bomb on.
Who came on to change the game?
We've already been through it, Sophie.
Have we? Tell me. Who came on to change the game against Newcastle and against Everton? Who came on to change the game?
Nobody came on against Newcastle because we created enough chances in that game and we didn't take them. Against Everton, Trossard came on. Jorginho came on. Tomiyasu came on. Didn't change the game.
Tomiyasu's not a game changer. He's a game manager. Trossard is a game changer. Jorginho's not a game changer. He's a game manager.
They came on to change the game for us. attacking wise.
What?
Come on, Sophie.
Maybe.
Come on now.
No,
Come on.
Jorginho never came on to change the game. He came on to manage the game. Trossard definitely is a player that comes on to change the game and maybe get a goal.
Sophie, Jorginho came on to manage the game at 0-0.
Yes. I think he did. Yes.
Okay.
So if we had an off day, yeah. Listen, when was the
opinion.
last time? Listen, everyone's like, we need counselling and stuff. When was the last time Kev and I had a tete-a-tete about where the Arsenal is at? Come on, everyone. Seriously. I'm asking a very simple question here. I'm not questioning the manager. Don't come at me with your pellets. It's one loss. I get it. I'm asking, if we are challenged in these situations going forward, do we have a plan B? And
I've already answered it. Yes, we do.
And I'm not sure your answer's clear.
No, my answer's clear. The problem is you don't want to hear it, but that's fine.
No, I heard it, but I just don't know if I understand it.
So hold on a minute. So when Trossard comes on against Manchester United and plays,
I said Trossard can be a game changer. I said that.
Hold on.
But I didn't agree with you on Tomiyasu and Jorginho. I think they're game managers. I think they come on to manage a game, not change a game.
Sophie, Jorginho comes on to. They all come on to change the game, Sophie. That's why you make
I don't agree.
substitutions.
No, not every game. Not every player comes on to change a game. Some players come on to help manage a game to its end.
Sophie, the game was 0-0 when Jorginho came on. Tomiyasu
would have taken a point at that point.
Trossard came on. So why are they coming on? They're not on to manage the game. They're on to move us forward and to make a difference in the game. One is to make a difference defensively. Jorginho is there to make a difference on the ball in midfield, and Trossard at the top end of the pitch. Am I wrong?
I think that we are both correct, but we just see it differently. So I believe that there was a time when Jorginho with Partey seemed not right the whole game. Jorginho comes in. I truly believe that's a management of the game. Trossard is a go get us a goal, son, with your talent type of, Jorginho's a manager of the ball. He's going to push the game forward. He's going to control the tempo. And then it's down to Odegaard, or it's down to one of those creative players to get sucked in and affect and change the game. And all I'm asking is, when we're challenged in this way, we're challenged against Newcastle. We've been challenged against Everton. I think we'll be challenged against other teams.
I've already answered your question.
No, I know you've answered it. I'm answering yours.
You don't want to hear it.
No, but you just asked me a question and I'm answering it. That's all.
No,
I don't think that we have a plan B. And it's fine. You think I'm wrong, Kwabena, and some people think I'm right.
We do have. That's why we made the signings on and we strengthened our bench. The fact of the matter is, against
my
Newcastle,
question was, who came off to change the game from the bench?
And
Nobody.
I've already told you, Sophie.
Trossard was the one player who could. No, I'm not deliberately doing anything. I'm deliberately asking questions.
Jorginho is on there to make a difference. He's not there to just manage the game. He's on there to try and make a difference, to try and get us moving up the pitch. So that's a difference offensively. Tomiyasu is there to make us a bit more solid at the back.
See, I think that Jay Dime says, I'm like, if you bring on another striker who can really change the game, that's changing the game.
We haven't got anybody, so stop talking about target strikers. We haven't got anyone.
I'm trying to give you an example of what we are with who we have, and you don't want to hear it. So that's okay.
So
all right, we'll move on to
the striker then.
Well, no one.
So why are we discussing it if we haven't got one?
Because the question I asked was, what are the options to come off the bench? Who can change the game?
But Sophie, I've already said this. I'm going around in circles again.
So am I. Right. Let's get to the next bit. Kev, it's really quite simple. As the games go on and you're challenged more and you're suffocated with the style of football you play, what is your plan B?
Sophie, I've already explained it. What more do I say? What
Nothing.
more can I say? What more can I say?
You maybe say the right thing, Kev, and then we can move on.
According to you. But I'm saying on the bench on Saturday, Trossard had to be the one to come on.
And we agree with that.
Jorginho had to be the one to come on.
Not a game changer.
But that's in your opinion. But he's brought in to get us moving up the pitch to break the lines. That's why he came on the pitch. And Tomiyasu was brought on to strengthen things up at the back because we were looking a bit wobbly in that position. That's all I'm saying. If Emile Smith-Rowe's there, he's another one we're hoping he could get himself fit.
But he's not. That's playing the what-if game, which you hate.
No, but he's our player. I'm saying if he's fit, he's another one who could come on and be a game changer.
But he's not. We're talking about now. You don't like talking about like...
No, hold on. Because that's what you're asking about. Before you were talking about a target striker. We haven't got one, but we got Emile Smith-Rowe.
I know, and I said that.
No, but we got Emile Smith-Rowe.
He's not a target striker, Kev.
I never said he is. I said he's someone we could bring.
But where is he? Where is he? Où est le Emile Smith-Rowe? Je voudrais un Emile Smith-Rowe, s'il vous plaît. Where is he?
Yeah, but you know what, Sophie? You said to me about moving forward as the season goes on, and we might just have to rely on Emile Smith-Rowe. That's why I'm mentioning him.
Yeah, I have 100%, but he's not part of the conversation.
No, you didn't. I did.
Sure, fine.
So again, you could say, "Oh, but he's not there." No, he's not there. But you asked me about game changers. Who can come off the bench? Emile Smith-Rowe can. Trossard can. Jorginho can. We haven't got a lot, Soph.
I was talking about game changers, and I'm not being petty and antagonizing. Like, why am I being petty and antagonizing? I haven't had to deal with this for a really bloody long time.
I've mentioned the names, and you're still going on about other things.
What am I going on about? I'm going on about stuff that is real for this club. When we are challenged and we face teams like Newcastle and Everton and we don't have a plan B, what is our plan B going to be?
We do have a plan B.
No, we don't have a plan B.
We do.
Stop telling me I'm petty and antagonizing. It's offensive.
Sophie,
all right?
We do have a plan B.
I'm sick and tired of this whole freaking situation because you voice your opinion and you challenge something in a moment of adversity. Doesn't mean you're antagonistic or petty. It means you have a point and you'd like it answered.
Yeah, but Sophie, hold on a minute. Let's have it right though. You've asked me the question and I've answered it.
Maybe you haven't answered my question. Why is it?
I have answered it.
And I've asked you different ways to get an answer, which I don't think is...
Sophie, I can only answer the same thing. No matter how you ask it, the same way.
No, but you haven't... Okay, so I challenge you on your responses, but you don't... I mean, what's the point? Why can't I do that?
Because that's all we've got.
I'm asking people to think outside the box here. This is what Arsenal fans were...
Sophie, how could we think outside of the box when the bench is what it is?
Because the manager needs to think outside of the box and have a plan B for when his team is faced with adversity and not what he's usually challenged to. And that was my point.
About bringing Trossard, Jorginho, and Tomiyasu
And I countered that to you, and your response was?
You countered that to me how?
I countered it to you saying only Trossard is a true game changer. Jorginho's a game manager and Tomiyasu's a game manager.
The question was plan B. That was our plan B. Whether you like it or not, that was our plan B. That was it. That was our plan B because that's all we had, really.
And I'm challenging what the plan B is, and that's why some Arsenal...
Sophie.
Okay, let's move on. Right, let's move on.
We can't talk about players like you said who are not there.
No, but we can talk about the players. I never did. I talked about players who are there, who some people think you mentioned are game changers, and they're just not. Jorginho's a game manager. Tomiyasu's a game manager.
They weren't in this game, Sophie. But
they were asked to come on, Kev.
Yeah, but Sophie, this is football, for God's sake. Not every time you come off the bench, you're going to change a game. But that. Why else are you coming on the pitch when you're down? You're coming on to change the game.
So when you're 2-1 up and there's a substitution at
We're not
81 minutes
2-1
and
up.
Holding comes on. Hold on
We're
one
not
second.
2-1 up.
Why can you
2-1 up?
Okay, but why can you hypothesize and I can't? Like,
No,
I'm
I'm not hypothesizing. I'm talking about truth.
Okay, all
We're
right. The
1-0
truth
down, and we
but
bring
you
on
said
Trossard, and we
something.
bring on Tommy Arson.
Okay, so Kev, sorry, can you just hear me out? I'm giving you a similar example. Like, you're losing a game or you're winning a game. You want to have people on that you're saying change a game. When you're winning a game and there's 10 minutes to go and you bring on Holding, you're not bringing on Holding to win a game. You're bringing on Holding to manage a game.
No, hold on a minute. You're bringing Holding on to make sure you win. That's why you're bringing Holding on, Sophie.
If you think this is getting boring, Dennis, tune out. Seriously, it's up to you. You don't have to stay here. Jesus.
You're bringing Holding on to make sure you win the game. That's why.
No, you're bringing. Okay, so
you're winning 2-1 and you bring Holding on. Why are you bringing him on to manage?
To manage the game. To make sure
you win the game.
To manage the game.
You're not. You're bringing him on to make sure you win.
Okay, doomed to fail. All right, here we go.
Sophie, Rob Holding cannot manage a game. Rob Holding is a defender. He's a defender to try and make sure you win the game.
Alex, this is the point. This is the point. The point is a second loss all season. Yes. But the point is, if we are faced with such a team again, what is our plan B? That is all I'm asking. And I feel like we have a couple players who come off the bench and win a game and some just manage a game. And Kev and I disagree with it. And so have I, Kev. I've answered it. Right. That is it.
You've answered it, So Rob Holding is a game manager. Right?
Yes, he is.
He's not a game manager.
Trossard's a game winner.
Rob Holding couldn't manage anything. He's come on to
clearly
defend.
He can manage his hair. Good, Lynn. I'm glad Kevin's right. He's there to control, not lose. Manage, win.
He's there to make sure.
Manage the game.
You call it manage.
Right, next time I hear you guys talk about managing the game.
To make sure we win.
There's a difference between manage. Thanks, PW. Thanks for losing. Bring on Sophie. You get more passion from me than you did out of those boys on Saturday. Okay. Here we go. Let's get to the next. Okay. So Kev, we've done it.
Hold on. Let's loosen up a bit here. Come on.
Let me get the neck.
Yeah.
Let me have a sip of my cold espresso.
Hey, I tell you, it's been a while, Soph. It's been a while.
I mean, it's been over a year since we've had that type of disagreement. Chris Pantelli, you both sound, we're like brother and sister.
We are.
Right?
We are. Listen, we're passionate about the club. So
please take off your hats and cool down.
I'm cool. We got the squad. What's that? Is that a Great Britain hat, Soph?
Yeah.
Sophie's got the Great Britain hat. I've got the Highbury Squad, and we're fine. Yeah.
Carol wants us to take a break.
We don't need a break. Come on, we're all right.
All right. Okay, so I think that's it for the Kev, would you make any changes to your starting 11 for the next game? I believe you said no.
Yeah, I wouldn't, Soph, because we're at home. I think at the Emirates, we tend to get the best out of Saka and Martinelli there because of the width. But listen, maybe Martinelli's got a little bit off the boil. Like I said, he's not getting as much probably ball and opportunities with Eddie playing, but it's not Eddie's fault. It's just Eddie isn't Jesus. So let's see how it goes against Brentford. We know what we can do against Brentford. And I don't think we make any changes, Soph. And I think we keep it as it is. But if after an hour, 55 minutes after an hour, we're struggling, which I hope we're not, then he's obviously going to make some changes. I would add Vieira into that because he even come on to try and do something. So we have got players on the bench who he will look to help. But if they don't turn up, Soph, doesn't matter who you bring them.
Yeah, this is Kev always performs when I'm in the chat.
Gouda Russ.
Where's my Vinny? Bring my Vinny out. Hug it out. No, never. I just put the link in G-Dog to the store. Kev wearing the beanies, creating some sales. And don't forget our friends at Zenith Coins as well. You wanna oh my god, wait till you see what they're coming out with.
Oh boy.
Oh my god.
Oh boy. Collectors. There's some collectors items coming out. Sophie.
It's ridiculous. And we're not seriously, we are not joking. It is so special. It's ridiculous. You're going to want a piece of that. Seriously. See, Priscar's missed it. I know. We haven't, you know what, Kevin and I have been agreeing too much.
That's the thing. We haven't needed to. But I know you had a bee in your bonnet after Everton game. I know you
my
did.
Top button up now. Leandro, we were one of the first that did like fans in the show and stuff like that. And we've done it. We kind of translated it to the chat. But next time Kev does a Kev Says, we'll bring fans into the show. We used to do it all the time. And we want to get to that towards the end of this season as well. Okay, so Kev, anything else on the Everton game before I move over to some other key items?
Yeah, I just think it's such a poor performance. It was such a poor performance that I don't think no matter what we tried, it just seemed like we couldn't get it going at the top end of the pitch. I think the best opportunity we had was when Saka volley got kicked off the line, and Eddie Nketiah got in the first. Both of these were first half. I thought second half we were pretty awful as an attacking force. Didn't look like scoring. They only needed the one goal and kept it really tight. But I believe in the boys. I believe the boys will tidy themselves up. They will go again. And tough game against Brentford, but we're at home. We need that fan base. We need that fan base at the Emirates again, because another London derby, yet another one, and we have to turn up. So fingers crossed we can get that job done.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't mind mixing it up a little bit on Saturday. I think it would be good for a few players, which is what I was alluding to earlier. Okay, those are the top 5 Arsenal talking points. Where did it go wrong? Let's talk about like-for-like subs versus formation switches. Talk to me about certain grounds thrown at Kev as well. Tweaking our starting 11 and our mental attitude and whether or not we can rely on that going the whole hog this season. Right, I have now 5 alternatives for Kev. Neutral talking points. Kev, the big news today, of course. I'm sure we'll agree over this and not argue over this one. Manchester City, 100 cases of irregularities. We've seen in Italy, Juventus be punished and relegated, points docked that led to that. Obviously, betting scandals a little bit different. But what is the difference if you are fudging the books and doing what City have been doing? Surely there has to be some punishment. And why wait?
It is alleged at the moment.
Okay, it is.
So
for legal reasons. I did say reasons, alleged.
Yeah, it's alleged. So one thing we can't do is condemn them right now and convict them. But if it is true, they've got to throw the book. If it is true, they've got to throw the book, because they have to make sure nobody else even goes down this route. I mean, if we found out, figure of speech, it was a Chelsea, there you go, straight away. What? If it was a Chelsea, we'd say, yeah, definitely. But because things are kind of, City just do their thing. But this is going back to a long time, so
14 years, Kev, apparently.
14 years. This is going back to what, 2008, 2009. That is a lot of years. So it's going to be interesting. Well, the Premier League seem like they've got the appetite for it, so.
Yeah.
So, you know what I mean? So let's see what they do. Because you know what? if they convict them or whatever, they find out there was some irregularities, and they only fine them. What's the point? They've got so much money. Money doesn't hurt them.
No, but this is where money can't be the answer. It has to be docked points and relegation. You cannot do what otherwise. What was stopping Arsenal? Heck, I'll throw Tottenham in the ring. Manchester United. Shoot, I'll throw Chelsea in the ring. Throw any team in Europe.
Liverpool.
What they've done clearly is, throw Liverpool in. And think about Liverpool losing the title, twice to a point. Yep. Seriously, this is what most fans have thought for a long time. Pep made his massive speech about, if I find out you're lying to me, I'll leave the next day. 100 irregularities. There is no smoke without fire, and there's a blaze burning at Etihad Central, and this is huge.
I could smell the smoke.
I can smell the marshmallows from here.
Oh, jeez.
In American sports, they would. If this was American sports right now, you've seen what's happened. For example, Heisman Trophy, college, someone like Reggie Bush, who was deemed to break the rules with an agent, etc., has had his Heisman taken away from him. In his mind, does he still believe he won it on pure talent? Of course, but he broke the rules, so it's taken away from him. I mean, you had, cheating Chicago White Sox. You had the New England Patriots. They were punished in different ways, didn't have their title taken away from them. This is unprecedented, what we're seeing in the Premier League. And how they handle this, Kev, is going to be massive, because they cannot get away with what is alleged.
So, didn't UEFA fine them previously?
Yes.
So all this time, the Premier League must have known.
Yes.
That's the thing that's crazy. So the Premier League must have known what's been going on. And to just come out now, after 14 years?
Yeah, I agree. I think they're toast as well, Overlord. I don't think there's any way they get out on this at all. Sophie is making this podcast irritating with her toxicity. Wow. Nice. Bye, toxic girl. See you later, babe. Clearly you don't listen to this show enough, perhaps. It's amazing, isn't it, when there's difference of opinion. I think Sophie is drunk, very ungrateful of the team's performance so far. You never imagined this team would be topping the table from day one and are always going to have bumps along the way. That's exactly what is happening here. Sophie, if you acknowledge that we will lose again, what excuse will be acceptable? None. Losing is unacceptable. Kevin will tell you that. Kevin, do you think they'll be punished for their breaches this season? You're saying not now, correct?
Yeah, I think they will, but these things, City run it through the courts. They'll go the whole hog with this.
I don't see how. This is this years or months in the making, Kev?
Well, if you're City, it'll take years. If it's City,
yeah,
you put as many barriers as you can up.
Let's see.
Unless
points
deduction.
You
are real bank rights.
Yeah, I mean, this is craziness. UEFA did, but the initial fine of 30 million was reduced to 10. I know it's a joke, Yanto. The whole thing is a real joke. Okay. Here we go. Next one, Kev, that's the neutral. Leeds sack Jesse March, fair or foul?
I like Jesse March. I think he was doing a good job. I really do. But obviously they pulled the trigger on Jesse Marsh. But I thought he'd done a decent job. Kept them in the Premier League last season. I thought they played some really good stuff. Look at them. Won at Liverpool. They've won some good games this season. But again, teams are going to go through sticky patches, and they've gone through a little bit of a sticky patch. But, I still think that Leeds will be fine. But
how did they give him the investment in the summer and January and walk away from him a week later after he gets Weston McKennie in? Clearly, Like how do they make that decision? They're saying because Everton won and got the bump. You're not making a decision like that because Everton won.
No,
There's no way.
It must have been in the going on in the background anyway, and they've obviously must have somebody. They must have somebody lined up. They must.
Tino should take over Leeds and rebuild it. He'd be good there probably. Okay, thanks, Chief Like Officer. I appreciate that. Coming under fire today, but I'm ready for the fire. Here we go. Forest win again. Cooper, manager of the month. Your ex-team, Kev. Another win. Is that 5 in a row for Forest?
Manager of the month? No, it's not 5 in a row because they
What is
drew
it?
last time out against Bournemouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Mikel Arteta was manager of the month, and then we lost, and then they won on Saturday. So, again, Steve Cooper's doing a really good job. There was a lot of people laughing at Forest, weren't there, after all the players they brought in? But they seem to be getting it right on the pitch, and they brought even more players in. Keylor Navas comes in, gets a clean sheet, does really well. And really good strike by Brennan Johnson. He's starting to find his feet in the Premier League now, which is good to see. Again, I think we've discussed this on here before. So the Forest's home form is what's going to keep them in the division. And they're going really well.
All right. Let's get this one. Got to ask Kev, as a striker, Harry Kane breaks Jimmy Greaves' record. It's kind of a big deal, but what do you want to say real quick?
Oh, listen, it's big for Harry Kane. It's big. Jimmy Greaves was a lovely man, great striker. And to break it, to score all them goals, listen, you got to take it out as a striker. Big respect, Strikers Union. Fair play to Harry Kane. And fair play to Harry Kane for denting City and making our weekend par. We get beaten, they get beat, so we're par. We still got the game in hand. But it's a massive achievement, Soph. It's a lot of goals he scored. And we know we can always throw the trophies at him, can't we? But it's still, we can.
It is a good achievement.
It is a huge achievement to be able to.
It is. I mean, Greavesy's a legend. I mean, we grew up with Greavesy and Saint and Greavesy, especially.
He won't beat all his goals. He'll beat his goals at Spurs, but he won't beat all his goals.
Yeah. And as we would like to sing maybe to the Tottenham, Dankeschön, darling, Dankeschön. All right, Kev, Liverpool off the cliff. Is it okay to start asking questions about Jurgen Klopp? Come on now. Can't go this far without it being the manager's fault somewhat.
No, listen, the manager takes the flack for it all. Of course he does. But here's the problem. He's been so successful with this group of players. When it does go bad, it tends to go bad very quickly, Soph. And this is the season where it's gone bad quickly. But you know what? Jurgen Klopp has spent money, Soph. He spent money. And nothing seems to be working. So of course, he's due the stick. He's going to get stick. He's going to be told he doesn't know what he's doing. He's deluded and all that kind of thing. But we know what a great manager he is. But at the moment, he's going through a tough time. So, yeah, he's going to get some stick.
Well, I just think if you're that great a manager, you should also be able to navigate around problems. And in the first season since taking over where he's faced adversity, he's tanking as a manager. Surely, if you're that great, you definitely get better results than you have this season. And
all the great managers go through tough times. Don't say they don't, because they do.
No, of course. Of course
so
they...
but you're saying it like he can't go through a tough time. He can.
But can he? It's been going on since the beginning of the season.
Yeah, he can go through a tough time. Of course he can.
But he's going through a tough time and we've not seen any pickup at all.
Hey, good, innit?
Well, good for us, yeah, for sure.
Hey, good, innit? But that's life.
Okay, Kev, I have another one for you that I'm introducing on Monday Madness. Is the opposing fan observation, and it's something that I've picked up as I'm doing my research, watching a whole bunch of Manchester City YouTubers and podcasters and Twitter sphere comments. regarding where it's going wrong for them this season. So I'm going to get you out on this one. One of the things that I've seen a lot of comments on is how they don't feel like the inverted winger slash fullback strategy is working for them this season. They've also, many of them talked about losing Zinchenko, losing Sterling, and losing Jesus, even if they weren't starters, as options off the bench. In particular, Sterling, of course, who started more games than Jesus, and Zinchenko. We've seen, of course, the Zinchenko role work perfectly for us this season. We know Pep's not a crap manager. I'm certainly not going to be talking about plan Bs and Cs, but he is cute sometimes, Kev. The biggest scream was the young English player, Lewis, not working in that inverted role. What did you see? What do you see in terms of them versus us as we go into February 15th? Pep is very stubborn as well. Talk me through that a little bit real quick before we head out.
Well, again, fans thinking they know football sometimes isn't great. It worked for them most of the season. It's worked for them all of Pep's career at City, and now it doesn't work. No, the levels at Manchester City have dropped. That's what it is. And they're just not the same team. They've got different players, and they are not the same team. You take a Sterling out, Sterling could really stretch the pitch as well. Haven't got Sterling anymore. They play in a different way. It's more death by a thousand cuts, and they open you up. 2-0 down against Spurs and then come back.
Cuts. Everyone, that was cuts. Yeah,
2-0 down against Spurs and then they come back. They get roused and they come back. I bet you the City fans didn't say it weren't working then, Soph. So again, we have to take all this stuff for what fans say with a pinch of salt. Bottom line is, Sophie, they're just not playing well enough. It doesn't feel like the same City. Haaland's got 25 goals, and they're still trying to really find out how to best to use him. I think something's not quite right at City at the moment. Cancelo going was a big surprise.
I think that's a major red flag, Kev.
Big surprise. I just think something ain't right, Soph.
It's not.
Something ain't right on the inside.
Benching De Bruyne. Okay, I get it. You know what? This is what I'm talking about with Arteta when we get there. You can't expect to play every week, especially if you're not playing well. It doesn't matter what your name is on the back of the shirt. We saw Wenger just enable the likes of Ozil. We saw that for years and years. We saw it afterwards with even average plays like Kolasinac and Sokratis and Mustafi, Super Kev. When you're hearing rumblings from that part of the universe where, you've got Foden, you've got, obviously you mentioned Cancelo, you've got Ruben Diaz, all of a sudden Grealish is getting more time. He wasn't before. He's trying to teach these lessons. And also, like Klopp, you get to a certain threshold with players, Kev, take me beyond those white lines when a manager's rung you out. Is there such a thing as them? Dortmund, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, you get everything out of everyone and you wring them out like a sponge. Is that what's happening here with City? Or did he know what was coming today? Like, has this been overshadowing the team?
No, listen. Well, let's not even mention today, because when you're a footballer and you're playing games, you've got to shut everything else out, and you've got to play. You play to win. City have been the best and most consistent at it, with Liverpool a close second. But this season, it's no surprise. Liverpool have fallen off, and City just ain't quite there. They're just not quite there. They've dropped off a level, and they're searching for form. If we're honest, they're still a lovely football team. They play great football, but they're searching. They're not that killer. They're not that killing machine that we see year in, year out. They're not. And that's why Arsenal have to make sure they get the Brentford job done, and then midweek against City, we've got to take City down. We've got to punch them in the mouth and smash them up. That's it. Because they're vulnerable, Soph.
Mhm.
They are vulnerable. And that's why we've got to feel it in our bone, feel it in our blood. They're at our gaff and our manner. We've got to take them out.
I agree. Now's the time to beat Manchester City. If you want to win the league, this is why I was disappointed about Everton, you guys. This is where I'm coming from. You break ducks, right? We beat Tottenham twice in the season. We've beaten Liverpool. Beating them at Anfield later on this season would be great, right? We've beaten Chelsea. We beat Manchester United at home. Beating Everton away would have just been another notch on that breaking duck belt as we hopefully march on to winning this league. The time is now. Look what's happening around us. City flounder. We have to capitalize on this. This is why we need a plan A, B, and C. This is what I'm talking about. Are you ready mentally and physically when called upon to start or come off the bench and make it right and win games for the Arsenal? And it's going to get tougher and tougher. Players, teams are going to play dirty against us. The eye gouging of Saka, Kev. I mean, it was, I get it. Everton came to play and they played hard and stuff like that. But I lost count, how many times he was in situations, and that's Martinelli right there. But this pulling his shirt, like not getting calls and things like this, it happens all the time. And we've got to be mentally prepared for these tough challenges that are coming ahead of us. And when there are teams at the top that are floundering.
Sophie, let me tell you something. If Everton try and take us on at football, we'll wipe the floor with them.
But we got to be prepared to play dirty as well when matched.
100%, but it never quite worked out at the weekend because we've played teams who have tried to be physical and we've dealt with them. Brentford are a physical team. We dealt with Brentford away. You hear Jurgen Klopp moaning about Brentford are over physical. No, but you've got to match them. Whoever your opposition are, you have to match them physically so your talent comes on top. Unfortunately, for one of the first times this season, it never quite happened. As Clive said, it was a bad day at the office.
I get that. A bad day at the office is fine. Can't have any more bad day. I'd take a bad day at the office on February 15th against City. I'm not taking a bad day at the office against Everton Football Club where they're on their arses. Do you get the point? We have to stop losing to Brightons and Southamptons and Crystal Palaces and Evertons and Newcastles. But that's the point.
Sophie, the problem is you can't pick and choose when you play bad.
No, you can't pick and choose when you play bad,
right.
But you've got to put in the effort.
You can say that, but that doesn't mean...
Just don't lose, Kev. That's the thing with certain teams in a season.
No, though. Listen, look at Manchester City. How many games have Manchester City lost? They've lost a few games already this season.
They have been able to afford to in the past because they're Manchester City and their quality. Thank God we were around this season to give them a challenge. Otherwise, the league would be boring.
But Sophie, my point is this. Manchester City have lost to teams who usually they can wipe the floor with a lot of the time.
Right.
But you can't put your finger. We've done fine. We've only lost 2 games in the league. My point is, you can't put your finger on when you don't play well. If you hope you can get something out of the game, so you could say we'll take a point and move on.
Right.
But Saturday we didn't deserve a point.
Because of those reasons that we are not there yet. It's against the teams like Everton. You can't afford to drop all points. That's it, right? It's going to happen in football. But what I'm saying is you got 2 games against City in the league to come. They could turn it on at any given time. You've still got Liverpool to come. Brentford is not a gimme. None of these games are a gimme. So losing to an Everton puts you in a hole that maybe you shouldn't have been in to begin with, considering how you have been all season. Right. That is it. That's all I got. A mega show for you tonight, Radio Star. 1 hour, 25 minutes with the legend that is Super Kevin Campbell, who had a great birthday weekend. We spent 20 minutes on a very good argument, which you can tell your friends about and make sure that they share. All right. Guess what's back on Wednesday, people? Tactical Squad. By popular demand, James and Josh are back head to head together again. Yes, Super Kev. We managed to get Josh out of his moving. I'm in my new high-powered job position. And James Johnston, of course, who's always willing to talk football. We got the two of them.
Two good lads.
So there'll be some questions coming from Super Kev. We got Demian on this week as well. And of course, we'll be gearing up towards the next big game against Brentford. Some big shows coming up in the next 2 weeks, which we'll announce later on this week. Other than that, I got nothing else to say. I'll hand it over.
I'm on a show. I'm on the Gooner Talk tomorrow, 6 o'clock.
With our good friend Tom Canton.
Tom. It's going to be a great show. And then I've got to shoot. So look out for it, squaddies. It's at 6 o'clock tomorrow.
Love it. Absolutely brilliant stuff. We got 5 more likes to go to get it to 200 to make it almost a maximum 180 this evening. Chief Like Officer, what a great show. Love you both. We love you too. According to Newman, you'll be happy with this result, Kev. I bitch slapped you 34-1.
Oh, yes, thanks.
We love the players too. I even had pictures that I didn't show tonight because I was just going to there's Martinelli trying to pass a ball. Couldn't really do that this weekend. There's Gabriel. I mean, Calvert-Lewin, so overrated. How did it happen? This guy that we wanted to buy, I mean, Marty didn't have a good game, did he? He's good. There's Ramsdale crying and Jorginho wondering, thanks for the sub at that time. And here's Saka being dragged to the ground again, wondering what do I have to do to get a free kick. And that was the bit at the beginning. And TalkSport, of course, with their little clickbait picture, acting like Saka's crying. And then here's the view from behind the goal. Sure, fine. That's good therapy. Shared it with you. The likelihood of us losing another game this season is likely. Then, Sophie, over to you, Kev. We've got to 200 likes. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, nice one. Thank you, squaddies. Listen, what I'm going to say is, we're Gooners. Everyone is against us. Within our family, we could have discussions and debates and we could get heated, but we are family. This team and football club are going to need us big time. Trust me, they will. They're going to need us unconditional, guys, because we got to help them get over the line. So whether it's Sophie asking about plan B, plan C, and plan D, or it's me saying, we need Smith Rowe back fit, we need this one, we need that one. It's all part of the family. So, squaddies, we love you. You take care of yourself. Tell your loved ones you love them. And if you haven't spoke to them or contacted them in a while, reach out to them, please. And on that note, all I've got to say, squaddies, is at ease, squaddies. At ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.